We're live. This thing said it had an error, and now I think we're still live though. So I'm gonna rock out with that. Let me center myself. What's good? Welcome to another episode. This is day 3 on my 60-day journey. I'm getting on here. Um, what up, yo? Welcome to How Billy Sees It. Yesterday I did an episode that was a bit of a departure from what I typically do. You know what I'm saying? Like these episodes, this show focuses on things that I am interested in. We talk about philosophy. We talk about physics and perception. We talk about life in its many forms. We talk about spirituality. We talk about God. And yesterday, I wouldn't say we got sidetracked, but I definitely devoted an episode to a garbage spectacle. You know what I'm saying? That occurs. And again, like, again, just the way I operate my show, what I want this show to be. I don't want to be a show that looks out into the world and looks at all the stupid people doing stupid things and looks at the political parties that I dislike, or looks at the powerful actors doing, enacting violence around the world, and just lamenting that and kind of sharing that story. I think that there's corporate news organizations that come up with reams and reams of content with that kind of stuff. They focus on power players and they just tell stories of this guy did that and this guy is responding that way, and then on YouTube there's just a bunch of stuff that has a similar energy. You know what I'm saying? Similar tone. A lot of it, people watch and respond to CNN content or watch Fox News content, and oh my God, can you believe what Fox News did here, this and that, and it's like outrage on top of outrage on top of outrage. I guess there's a place for that. And I guess people tune in for that, but that's not what we do here. And so yesterday's show was a bit of a departure, and I'm gonna sort of gather myself and bring it back to what we typically do here today. Yesterday we talked about Trump's UFC birthday gala, and we talked about, in particular, that one guy, Josh Hokett, and the real life gringo American wrestler, who I think he won for his winning speech. He said a couple of things. He blessed his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then he went on to do a selfish rant and hurl some abuse at the former First Lady Michelle Obama and call her a man. And the crowd loved it. Joe Rogan, who had the microphone, did nothing but supported him. And since then, people have been interviewed, members of the president's administration, and just other people, other prominent figures who you think might be invested in helping us speak better about each other and to engage in like a kind of civil politics. But no, they all find it funny. A few people see it to be in poor taste and have criticized it, but a good number think it's funny. They say it's the First Amendment, but it's just a joke. You guys don't like jokes. It's like, what was the joke? What was the joke actually? What was the joke in that? Michelle Obama's a man. What is the funny? Is there a joke? It's no joke. You're just saying dumb shit to be seen. Okay. Also, the other one they're saying is, yeah, you guys called Trump all kinds of names and a pedo, and he is a pedo. He's one of the most documented pedos ever. We have a letter written to Jeffrey Epstein with a girl's form talking about how, secrets and the great nights they had. And he's been interviewed talking about how Epstein loves kids on the younger side. And even though lots of stuff has been redacted, it's very clear. So that's not a joke when we call him a pedo. That's a statement of fact. And it's not even an undue insult. It's a statement of fact. This thing is not that. So, but we have to deal with this. This is what black people have to deal with. This is what black women have to deal with in particular. This little clown, this jokester, he's a troll, and he just wants to be seen, and he just wants his clicks, and he just wants his attention on the national stage. You know what I'm saying? On what was supposed to be hallowed grounds. We know the whole thing has been debased. You know what I'm saying? And people have to deal with that. There are girls all around the country, black girls who, on top of everything else they have to deal with, now they also have to deal with this growing, emboldened energy of just being a dickhead and challenging them in all the ways. You know, black women have typically kind of the body type isn't necessarily as slender as white women, and they might have thicker legs, thicker booty, bigger, you know what I'm saying, features one way or another, and they have to deal with this fuckery from a guy who just thinks it's all fun and games, it's all jokes. But again, to spend too much time there is to actually give it power. So I've given it an episode. I've now also given it about 5 minutes here, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on because what I understand is that the power is actually elsewhere. The power is everywhere. My attention is powerful. And so I have power over my attention. Have you ever noticed that? You ever notice you might have a great day? You might be having a great fucking day. And then you get a notification from something, or you see something on your phone. Maybe it's a news story or something. Somebody alerts you to something going on. I don't know, an Amber Alert, a notification or something. And it can change your whole mood. It can ruin your what was previously a good day. And this is what happens. Like, there are flashpoints of things that are going on in the world that take our attention. And I find it very powerful to know that, like, my mind is doing that. My mind is filtering and shifting through this. That one horrible thing that kind of ruined my moment now has my attention. You know what doesn't have my attention is all the other terrible things that are going on at that moment. I'm focused on one or two terrible things, and there's count thousands of other things that could ruin my mood in the same way. And I'm also not in that moment focused on all the beautiful things, on all of the resistance to the fuckery that's happening and all the bullshit that's happening. And then there's just beautiful truths about our reality that are always present, that are just there, you know? And it's important to have some kind of control over your mind, over your thoughts, over your attention. That you intentionally bring yourself to notice the wider story about what it all means and what this moment encompasses. It's not just nonsense and abuse. It's not just left-right battles. It's not just Democrat-Republican. And that's what this show is. This show we talk about nature. We don't find it's not about like finding silver linings or something like this. Like just to feel good or something. It's like, I'm interested in what is. I'm interested in the full scope of it. I want to accept the UFC birthday night. I wanted to accept that's part of what is, you know. I want to accept things I dislike, like mosquitoes. You know what I'm saying? I might get bit by a mosquito here, and I understand that, you know, there's a whole ecosystem that these mosquitoes are a part of, and that they're a valuable part of what is a very complex knife's edge of circumstance, nature, energy. Different beings, different forms of consciousness and energy. We might call them plants, insects, humans. We have different labels for different things. And that it's all intertwined, and it produces the conditions that we have here that we call life. And that's what is. And the widest story, if we really are able to encompass the full thing, again, we have labels for all this stuff because the labels allow us to tell stories. The labels allow us to document and to tell a complex story about what is. But if we tell the widest story possible, we start to arrive and approach as something we might call God. That's how I see it. That's what I mean when I say God. Like I talk about God here quite often. And I've said several times before that I've spent a good part of my adult life being an atheist. Um, I was an atheist. I was a Christopher Hitchens type atheist. I really enjoyed Christopher Hitchens, his wit and the way he would challenge the religious orthodoxies, all the major religions and some of the other ones as well. It's just like, but I've been moved to move past atheism. I can't call myself an atheist anymore because I know it's not true. I know that the religious prescriptions are human efforts to engage with the divine, to articulate and engage with the divine, to come up with social structure and rules and form, but that it's bigger than that. That's why so many times the religious groups and organizations fail. That's why you have these scandals in the Catholic Church, in the Christian Church, in the Jewish faith, in whatever, in Scientology. Pick your joint. It's a human endeavor attempting to give language, form, and to tell a story about something that escapes words and an experience that escapes words and continues in this moment. Hmm. So a lot of my atheism came from when I was an atheist. It came from looking out at the world and seeing the failings of the church. Some of the I still don't. I challenge some of the mystical claims that a lot of the faiths claim, some of the historical claims that they make, and you look at just how the people act. You look at someone like Josh Hokin. You look at Trump. You look at Netanyahu. You look at Mike Huckabee and all these individuals, and you look at war. You look at genocide. You look at abuse. You look at how Trump used immigration as a political tool. Now, we're so far into this whole ICE raids thing. People are no longer it's not even in the headlines anymore. People are so beat down with the number of abuses and how they're coming in all these different directions. And there's children still stuck in these ICE detention centers off somewhere. We don't have to see them. We don't have to know about them. The news won't report on it. It's whatever. CBS, CNN, they've been bought and they are serving the good president. So they don't want that on our radar screens. And you go, dag, you look at all that. You look at the pain and the suffering, and you go, it doesn't seem to fit with the God story, at least the one I was told. I was told a story about God and Jesus and about um, sacrifice on a cross over 2,000 years ago. And I was told a redemptive story about sort of my post life, my afterlife. Got a sense that this life is more, it's either like a battlefield or a testing ground. It's more of a testing ground to see if you'll be allowed into the fun place, heaven. I don't know what you were told. Leave in the comments. Let me know if you were told something similar, how you feel about it. My understanding of God is that it's right now. It's what I said. It's the whole thing. It's the flora and the fauna and the plants and the trees and the people and the technologies. It's the air we breathe. And when you look out and you see people behaving in odd ways, they're behaving in accordance with the story they have in their heads. You know, a detachment from God is obvious when people act and move, and particularly when they act and move over time, and you can see a pattern of behavior that shows a disdain for what is, a a lack of awareness that we're all parts of a whole. Check the video, Josh Hokett, before he calls Michelle Obama a man, he says he gives praise to his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And then he does this thing in order to get attention, just a selfish act of self-promotion, and abuse and division. There's nothing Jesus about that. There's absolutely nothing Jesus about that. But deeper than Jesus, there is a now. There is a now that it's not 2,000 years ago. There's a now, and the now is prevalent. The now is important. The now is not a holding place. The now is not a testing ground. The now is not like some kind of holding place, some kind of just wait it out until you get to the good stuff. What a trick. What a terrible trick. What a terrible confusion to have in your head. To wake up each morning, with the brilliant truth of like how your multiple organs are miraculously working together to keep you alive without your intention, without your active intention. Your heart and your lungs and your appendix and your liver and your intestine and your larynx, your brain. Keep going down. Anybody who's a biology major, you keep hitting me just name all the systems, name all the organs, then go lower and name the different cells and the parts of this and that. All of these systems are at play. That's inside your body, plus all the systems outside, the cosmological truths, the physics, and that's all at play. Every day you wake up, you get to have the experience of a sunshine and to act on your own volition and to imagine and to take steps towards your imagination, and to think that this is not God, that this moment is not God, and to think instead that it's a good use of your time to engage in more division, to laugh at people's suffering, to warmonger, to chase clout at other people's expense, to cause harm, to be indifferent about harm. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. But and so the way it all shows up in all these different ways, it comes up in all these different ways, and you want to tackle these things individually, but I think powerfully underneath it all, where I'm not talking individually, underneath it all, it's merely a condition of mental immaturity, incomplete storytelling, mental immaturity with someone like those Hokit and the MAGA people who think it's all fun. Mental immaturity, lack of curiosity, an incomplete story, a poor and incomplete story, whatever story he has that it doesn't include the wonder and the respect for what is. And while the last episode was a bit more frustrated about this, I am excited about the fact that what is. I'm excited and proud of the fact that I have done the work to really have a strong grasp and connection to what is. I wish strength and love and safety to everybody who's on their journeys as they navigate this world, as they engage with what is and get as God compels them to become curious and to understand and to build a relationship with God. I wish them strength as they have to navigate a world with Maga and Josh Hokid and others who just don't care. They just don't care. Kind of it's a mental illness. I think it's a stupidity as well to be an adult man and to operate that way. But they have that right. They have the will, the free will. And this is what is. All of it is what is. All of it is what is. So many kids are actually talking about it's taken up, it's only 2 days ago. So probably for another day or two, we'll hear more about it. We'll be all talking about the UFC birthday party and sharing notes on it. And I see so many young people, black, white, whatever religion, young people, 19, 20, getting on their social media and sharing their insights on this and condemning it and asking us to do better, seeing that these adults are not adults. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hopeful by all that. I'm excited by all that. It's all happening. And what I'm going to continue to do on this show is I will use moments on this earth, people, events, time, periods in this moment and in the past. We'll talk about the future. We will use this to underscore certain points about the human condition and about God and about what is and about what could be, about what human potential is. Yeah, I know that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to keep getting better at that and doing that with greater intention. I think that's what's missing. It's not enough to be beside yourself and shocked and offended by stuff. It's not enough. It's not the full story, and it's not even helpful. It actually supports the bad actors as they want us to be offended. They want our attention. You know? It has to be a tool for us to actually appreciate life and for us to have the proper critique too. Because if you watch TMZ, for instance, they don't TMZ, watch CNN. They don't equip you with the awareness to even notice the intentions behind these people and why these things occur. Intention is a big thing. Intention is a big part of what is, even though it doesn't get talked about as much. There's a reason that the genocide definition focuses on intention with such, like, that the intention is a big focal point of that definition and what it is. It's just a harder thing to discern. People can mask intentions. People can lie, and they do lie. But what are good intentions? What are honorable intentions? What are hmm, that's what I think that's what the authenticity series was about too, frankly. Yeah, those last 9 videos was a discourse on what it means to be authentic and what it looks like. And I think it answers that question about intention. Okay, that's all I've got for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Check it out and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. we're going to keep talking and getting to know ourselves and to think more deeply about this experience. Holla. See you later.